Hi everybody, welcome back to Sweetwater Place. I'm Kat. If you're new here, I am chronicling my hysterectomy journey, and I'm going to be putting these videos into a playlist in case you want to go back to the beginning. This is my 2-week post-hysterectomy update. I had the laparoscopic procedure done with the Da Vinci machine, and it is a radical hysterectomy. It was, and so everything was taken out. Yeah, I lost the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, my uterus, my cervix, and I had the hysterectomy because, very quickly, for some of you that are new, because I had some issues. I had endometriosis, adenomyosis, which I've found out now, and also a large amount of fibroids. Well, 7 fibroids. One of them was pretty large, and it was kind of sitting on my bladder or pushing against it. So it was kind of like, you know, if you stand on a hose and the water doesn't really come out. There were some issues going on, and I have IC as well, which is interstitial cystitis, which is a bladder issue. So it just exacerbated that, and it kept sending me into flare-ups, and there was a lot going on. So I am postmenopausal, so the doctor said, you're not using these anymore. You're not using, one of my ovaries was completely riddled with endometriosis already. So he said, you know what, let's just take these out and avoid any cancer risks, and we're just going to take it all. And I was okay with that. I did think a lot about it. I thought and prayed a lot about it, and I felt really good that, yes, this is the thing that I should do. And so now it's all about recovery. It's 2 weeks after, and there are some things that I wanted to talk to you about as far as how things are healing and how they're going, some insights to this point. Now, I was supposed to have a checkup with my doctor on Friday for the 2 weeks, but he had an emergency and we had to push it till Tuesday. So I'm hoping maybe he'll have the pathology report then and we can go over that. And if there's anything new, I will definitely make another video and let you know. Also, I want to point out, not only did I have the hysterectomy, but also I had the procedure that would normally be done if you are correcting a prolapse. So normally what we have is we have some ligaments, uteral sacral ligaments. There's some other ligaments in there. But what happens is they come toward the back of the uterus and they kind of like attach to the cervix to hold it in place and give it support. Well, what happens is, you know, of course they have to cut that away when they do away with the hysterectomy and take the uterus out. So what my doctor did, and some doctors are starting to get on board with this, is take those, your own ligaments, and bring those to around the vaginal wall. So after they make a cuff over the top of the vaginal wall, they will bring those ligaments in and attach those to the outside wall of the vaginal area, and that will support it where the cervix was supporting it before. And that will hopefully decrease the chances of maybe a vaginal prolapse later down the road, because one of the things I was reading about was the statistics that I believe it was up to 60%, 40 to 60% of all women who have experienced a hysterectomy will also experience a vaginal prolapse within 10 to 15 years of having that hysterectomy. I think that was one of the things that bothered me the most about it, was the possibility of thinking about that. So the fact that he's being proactive in trying to avoid that, I am so grateful for that. So that might be something you want to talk to your doctor about and see if maybe, you know, that might be something that you want to discuss. It also means there's going to be a little bit more healing going on. And so lots of stuff happening in there. So as far as swelling goes, goes, 2 weeks out. It has come down quite a bit. I noticed on day 9 that things were, there was a big improvement in the way that I was feeling in the morning and being able to get up and move around. And that's when I noticed that in the morning, the swelling really did go down. However, as you move about during the day, it kind of comes back. So as I move about during the day later in the afternoon, I might want to get that belly band out again and put it around me for some support and hold everything in again, because it does help, and it helps with the swelling, and it helps to kind of feel better and keep you upright, and give you that support that you need. So the swelling is kind of like it's leaving little by little, but as you're healing, if you're irritated and you're moving around too much, you can bet it's going to be coming back for a while. So that's kind of like a thing I'm dealing with right now. I am drinking a lot of water, trying to keep myself hydrated, and I think that helps with that as well. Let's talk about random pains for a minute, and that is digestive healing pains. There's stitches that are healing inside, and then also urination. I have had all of those and still have them. So digestively, I want to say everything's finding a new place to settle. And so if there's even just like a hint of a gas bubble going and traveling in my colon, and it pushes against all of those stitchy areas, I am telling you, it is not, you definitely know it's there, but it's tolerable, but it is pretty uncomfortable. And there are some moments where you're just kind of like, oh, what's happening? But then it passes and you're okay. So I know that's going to be just for a while I'm healing. So I am trying to be patient with that. So besides that, we have the healing, the stitches, things like that. Things are starting to pull, and hopefully you're not, stretching and stuff like you're not supposed to. I'm really trying not to. So I really haven't had, some people have said, oh, I stretched too far and I felt a stitch break. I have not had that experience. I have been being very careful, and hubby has been very vigilant about telling me not to overdo things. So I'm really trying not to do that. But there are times, like maybe the other day I was having lunch and I was drinking a cold drink, and as it went in my stomach, now there is another incision in my belly button, so I don't know what went on near that, but obviously something did, because all of a sudden I just started getting these really terrible, sharp stabbing pains, and it wouldn't go away until I laid down on the couch and took that pressure off of that area. And I just felt like that was definitely related. I've not had that happen before. I just felt like it was related to all of what's going on in there. Also, urination. Now, I heard from another person who was chronicling their journey through this, that she had a lot of pain, not necessarily inside the bladder, but at the end of the bladder, right before the fluid comes out, is when it really hurts. And I've been experiencing that. And 2 weeks out, I am still experiencing it. And that may be due to the fact that I have found out I have actually had a UTI since I got home from the hospital. And so Friday is when I got the medication. They gave me a pretty strong antibiotic to try to get rid of it. And it's working like a charm, and it's really, really helping. So that's clearing up. That was one concern that I had coming home, was that I was going to get a UTI, because having interstitial cystitis, a bladder problem already, I was so afraid of having to battle that and heal and recover from this hysterectomy. And that is what happened. So normally if I go in for surgery and I don't have a lot of water, it does kind of like tip off, it may be a UTI. But, then on top of that, they went in with a scope, which they have to check out the bladder. And then I had to come home with a catheter. And that was just, I was reading about how I think 60% of all women that go home with a catheter typically develop a UTI. So that was definitely me. I had it. But the problem was, the reason why I didn't seek help sooner was because with all the pain and everything going down there, the healing pains and everything, I couldn't sort out which was which. Was my bladder just having this reaction because it was bothered? Is it just inflamed like everything's inflamed down there right now? And so I didn't really know. I'm like, you know what, once the hysterectomy pain started subsiding a little bit on its own, I was able to single out more of the bladder pain and see that it was indeed burning, and giving me those usual bladder UTI symptoms. So I called the doctor, and my nurse she had them send this over right away. So they're really wonderful. They don't want you to have a bladder infection because they don't want it to back up into the kidneys and cause damage. So they were really, really good about that. And I have continued to take Tylenol, extra strength Tylenol, once, maybe twice a day if I really need it, but I'm really trying to wean even off of that. I usually take it every morning because after I start moving about, things start to hurt again, and I take it and it lasts, I'm pretty good until about late afternoon, and I either have to lie down again or I need to take some more medication. I still do try to get my feet up and lay down as much as possible and just rest. I'm also still continuing to take 1 Colace stool softener per day and Miralax in the morning and a capful in the evening. And I take that with a low-calorie, 5-calorie juice, and that seems to be keeping things moving. I want to wean off of that 2 weeks out. It seems like a long time to be doing this, but at the same time, everything's still really sore in there and it feels very fragile. And so I want to wait until things feel more stable before, you know what I mean? I want to get into a situation where I feel like I have to push or anything like that and then end up, breaking stitches. So right now I definitely don't want to do that. Sitting and walking, as far as that goes, sitting upright like I am now, if I didn't have the Tylenol in, I could only sit this way for so long, and then I'd have to lay back again. So definitely the Tylenol helps with the pain in order to be able to do that. Sitting for very long periods of time is still kind of difficult. Walking, I try to get as much done as I can, but I don't over push it. So I'm still probably about maybe 10 to 12 minutes at most being able to walk at one time without, a lot of discomfort. So that's growing because it was 7 to 10 minutes, before. So it's just growing little by little. I'm trying to add a little bit more. One thing that I wanted to say, though, as far as that goes, sitting and walking, is that no matter where you're at or what you have to do, make sure that you're always going to be completely comfortable. Maybe make sure that you'll be able to recline, lean back, sit in a comfortable chair, bring a pillow with you. There's a pillow in the car, so it goes underneath my seatbelt. And Honey drives whenever possible. And so I recline the seat just a little back, take the pressure off. If, the other day I took my kids to a homeschool park event, my eldest son carried a chair that was comfortable for me, and I took a pillow and I was able to sit there and comfortably watch them play for a while we were there. So, and I'm only going to places right now that I know I could lay back or only be there for a certain amount of time, because right now comfort is of the utmost importance right now while I'm healing. So don't be afraid to make yourself as comfortable as you need to be for now. It just, if you don't, it feels like the pain can become unbearable. And you don't want to just have to get up and leave because of that. So anyway, and if I don't think that I can make myself comfortable, then I just avoid going to certain places at this time until I can do that. So shopping, I will say I'm still using pickup and delivery service. That has been the biggest blessing. I did try, I was about, I want to say 9 days out, right? And I thought things were going really good. And I told my husband I could go shopping. I could do it. Maybe it was on the 7th day. I don't remember. But in any case, it was too soon. And I have heard from many people say People said don't push the shopping carts because they are too heavy and you really can't be putting that kind of pressure on yourself. And I thought I was in a position that, hey, you know, I'm ready to do this. I can do it. I'm just going to do a little bit. Now, one of the things that I did was I told my husband, can you go to another store while you're out today and get this juice? You know, I didn't want to try to get gallons of anything because I knew that was going to be too heavy to lift at that time. But I needed to get a few little light things from the store, and I wanted to get out and I wanted to see if I could do this. And I have to tell you, after I first started pushing that cart, I couldn't push it throughout the whole, all I did was I leaned on it and I just let it take me. And halfway into the store, I knew that I was in over my head and I started getting a ton of pain, a ton of swelling, and I knew that it was the wrong thing. I thought I was going to be walking a regular pace around me like everybody else was, and I wasn't. I had to just move aside, and I felt like a fish out of water. And I got home somehow, but in the parking lot, there was just no way I could even get the cart back to where they keep the carts. It was just, I knew that it was just too soon. And after that, I didn't try it again. And I went home and my husband said, see, I told you, you know, after he had gone somewhere else with the kids. And so I insisted that I could do it at the time. And so don't push it. That was about a week ago. So now I could probably do it, but I still have not gone shopping. Not without somebody else to help me. So just be careful and don't push it. Everybody's going to heal differently. Also, no lifting heavy, anything over 10 pounds. Yes, I am being very careful. Hormonal shifts. Okay, very quickly, I wanted to cover hormonal shifts because some people have a hysterectomy and they haven't gone through menopause yet. So they're thrown into surgical menopause overnight, and then they have, you know, all the hot flashes and all of that kind of immediately or within just a couple days or so. Since I've been through menopause already, I was already on bioidentical hormone therapy. I get one pellet inserted, surgically implanted in my upper hip area once every 3 months. And so my doctor's really good about testing me once or twice a year to make sure that my levels are good. And I spoke with her before I had the surgery and asked her, am I going to go through any changes? What can I expect after this? She said, I am giving you all that you need to have through these pellets. So you shouldn't have even a blip. You should just be fine. And so I thought that's great. And it has been pretty much that way. I think it was about day 7 or so where I was talking to one of our viewers online at the time, and I told her that I was experiencing a little bit of heat that day, and I thought I think maybe my body was going, hey, something's weird, something's different, something's gone, something's missing, and maybe it was some sort of communication or excommunication with my uterus that was doing that, and it was trying to find out what was, you know, going on and settle somewhere. But in any case, it did, and the next day I seemed to be okay, and I haven't had any sort of thing since then. I can't really say it was a hot flash. I was just a little warmer than usual, and now I feel like I've settled back again, and I haven't not experienced any sort of interruption or anything like that. So bioidentical hormones and hormone therapy is totally individualized. I would definitely highly recommend, just out of my own experience, I do recommend bioidentical hormones, but that's a whole other video. I love them to pieces. I've been taking them for years. So that's it. I just wanted to check in with you and just say, if you're about to have this surgery, don't worry about it. You're going to come through just fine. Just make sure that you have really good communication with your doctor and your medical professionals. And you are just do whatever they tell you to do. And make sure that you rest. Get lots and lots of rest. That's what's going to be your biggest friend. And also enjoy the rest, because here come the holidays, and You know what I mean? Rest like this just doesn't happen for us very often. So I am grateful for that too. So anyway, I will let you go for now. Thanks for checking in, and I'll see you on the next update.